like that we're talking about protecting our money because, come on, like we are scared. We're a little bit scared about someone coming in. So how do you keep your money safe?
Well, everyone should just give it all to me, and I will dole it out carefully in portions that I deem to be consistent with the values you hold in life. Now, there are two big risks that people face. First is investment risk, that you buy an investment and it explodes to zero, right? The second is fraud risk, that someone steals your identity, takes out a mortgage, and flees to Bora Bora. That's like our worst fear. One that we don't have to worry about anymore that we did a century ago was bank risk. There was a scenario in which there was a run on the bank. We don't have to worry about that these days, thankfully, because of federal deposit insurance. So it is investment risk and fraud risk are the two.
So let's start with the investment risk then. How do we protect ourselves?
So the big decline that people remember is 2008. So if you had your money in the stock market and you were about to withdraw it to buy a house and then 2008 happened, you lost 40% of your money. That was an enormous problem. So the two things you can do to protect yourself is first to diversify. So stocks and bonds, local and international. The second is to think about your time horizon. Because if you were about to buy that house with money in the stock market, you were mismanaging your time horizon. Any money you need access to in the next 3 to 5 years shouldn't be in the stock market, because who knows what's going to happen. So I was one of those people who lost 40% of my portfolio value in 2008.
Do you want to hold hands?
I didn't care.
Oh, you didn't care?
No, I thought it was fantastic because I kept putting money in. And then it was like the best day ever at Winners because it was 40% off. It was fantastic. What a great bargain. If you don't need the money, it doesn't matter. There's nothing to be worried about. So I think time horizon is the second big thing that you need to understand when it comes to investing.
Okay, so you need to be keeping it there for what? Like 20, 10,
I would say 10 years. Markets, so if a market declines, it will, based on history, who knows, it will rebound over the course of 10 years.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about fraud then.
Okay, so I get this email from my mom this week, and she says I was awakened by a phone call at 6 in the morning, and the person told me that my credit card had been compromised, and that I needed to give them my credit card number in order to confirm that this had happened. And my mom hangs up the phone, calls the number on the back of her credit card, and of course it's a scam. Go Mom, she's listening. Good work. Because seniors are particularly vulnerable. And when you call someone at 6 in the morning, how are you going to know? So there are those types of scams. There are these massive hacks that you read about in the headlines, right? Where like 140 million people were hacked. Don't worry about those because there's nothing you can do. What you can worry about is your password. I was on this hiking trip and I look over to the side of the trail and I see an iPhone. I pick it up. There is no password protection, so I can see all the email. And I ended up ordering a sectional on Amazon. It's gorgeous. It's got the chaise. It's a Brian Gluckstein. It's fantastic. So you need to make sure that you've got a password because that's the first line of defense. Your phone has so much information on it, and it can be a good place to store your passwords. Just do it properly. So iPhone has the iCloud keychain. Android have a function through the Google world. Some people put their passwords in the contact section. Yes, you know someone who does that. You know someone who does.
I don't know anybody who would want to do that.
Now, as long as your phone is password protected, it's not the worst. But I will tell you it's not very efficient. Because what happens is you type it in and you look up the contact. You still then have to go key in that password.
You do.
If it's in a keychain or in a password manager, which I'll talk about in a second, you don't have to key that in. So it saves a step. Contacts isn't the worst, but I don't love it. Me no love it. It's not the best. Me no love it. You know what the best is? Let me tell you.
What is the best?
These password managers.
Which
I hate change. Oh God, I don't want to do anything different ever. But the password managers are their LastPass. There's one called Sticky Password, Password Boss. It basically feels like a website that stores all your passwords. Now, it could be compromised, but I don't have enough pessimism in my soul to predict that, to play out that scenario. So basically what you do is every time you go to a website, the LastPass plugin says, would you like to save this password? You say yes, and then it is stored in this particular place, synchronized with your phone, and with LastPass it requires your thumbprint. So they are a great way. It's a great way to keep track of it. Two other quick things: monitor your credit card statement. Sometimes you get a small charge that's worth like $1, and you think, oh, it's no big deal. But that's a way for the fraudsters to test if you read your statements. And if you don't call and complain about that $1, then they're going to put $1,000 on, thinking that you don't read your statements. Read your statements. Second, get your free credit report. No matter where you live in North America, you can get it and go through it. You will learn something and you'll be able to see whether or not like all that stuff is real.
Okay, so the password, get on top of your password. Don't have it in a Post-it note.
Do you know people who have it on a manila folder, right? I totally know people.
I might.
On their computer.
Shred that.
And they try and be cryptic about it. No, you have to shred that. Absolutely,
don't do
you have to shred
That's for sure. So sign up for the Password Manager and get your free credit report.
Yes.
And that's the most you can do. I mean, you can worry about it all day and night, but do everything you can in your little world to protect yourself.
One other little bonus would be the Ryan Seacrest top 40 of scams. The top 40 of scams. So the romance scam, love me, love me, love me, pay me $5,000, I'll be with you forever. Don't do that. The grandparent scam and the tech support scam. So just be aware of what's happening.
Be aware of those scams.
Be like my mom.
That's right.
She's aware.
Call the credit card
she's plugged
company.
in.
Good
Or call my mom.
Ruth.